now from Nashville, Tennessee, it's time for another episode of Tips, Tactics, and Tools for a Safer Tomorrow, where all things related to your safety and security are discussed, detailed, and delivered to you. You may leave with a tip that saves you money or a tactic that saves your life. So here are your hosts, owner and founder of Defend Systems, Brink Fidler, and owner and operator of Herring Technology, Tom Herring.
Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Tips, Tactics, and Tools for a Safer Tomorrow. Brink and Tom here, your host, to talk to you about all things safety and security related. This is actually part 2 of an episode that we got into talking about cameras, and what we're really trying to do is educate not just clients, consumers, husbands, fathers, wives, kids, residents, whatever, anybody, about a little bit more things in our industry that will not only benefit you on the end as the consumer using the products, but also benefit the industry, and especially Tom, and if you understand what you're getting into on the front end and what your needs are, and you all identify those needs and help them do that. So we got into more high-end security need, commercial facilities, things like that. Talked a little bit about access control, but I want to touch on access control as an overall subject, and then we'll dive off into some of the security products for your house. But access control, the idea behind it, right? The premise of access control, it really needs to be applied no matter what you're trying to secure. It doesn't matter. It makes no difference if you're trying to secure your vehicle from being broken into, or you're trying to secure your house or your business or whatever it is. You have to control who has access to whatever's on the inside or whatever that facility is.
Correct. It's going to be controlled, either by you or by whoever wants
by
in.
some turd, yeah, right.
Exactly. So, it's better that you do it. And when we talk about access control, a lot of people, in their minds go, "Oh, is that little card swipe thing?"
Sure.
I see people use at a place of business. Yes. Also when junior high groups, that shows how old I am. I guess it's middle school groups now. When they go on field trips and, they have to stay in a hotel or places like that, and the teachers go out and, after curfew and they can't sneak out of their rooms, they'll take tape and stick on the door, and that way they know if the tape is broken the next morning they went out after curfew. I hope a lot of middle school kids are listening to this and understand that's sure what they do. But anyway, when it happens, that is access control as well.
Sure.
As simple as that. If you try to go to a high-level secure building, they may have a retina scan, they may have fingerprint readers, they may have facial recognition that allows people in. That's access control as well. It's mainly knowing who's coming and going in your building, when they can come and go, and you have a record of who that was. Now, obviously, the tape doesn't give you the record of that, so some are more sophisticated than others. But and it just depends on what your level is that you need.
Right, but accountability, liability, knowing the electronic access control systems for, like what you're talking about, the card swipe and the fob, great, because I'll take it back. That alone doesn't let you know who. It lets you know who that key fob or that card is assigned to came through that door, but that alone doesn't tell you who it was. That's where the cameras come back in to confirm that, because coming from a guy who's borrowed people's access control cards to access facilities in a prior career, they never went back and checked to make sure it was that person that we're going in there to plant a device. Again, all these things are pieces of the puzzle and the tools in your toolbox, but none of them are standalone. But my point is, if we're trying to secure anything, it really starts with prevention or deter, or however you want, whatever word you want to use. We want to keep it from ever happening. So, things like proper lighting, things like that don't make your whatever a soft target, your residence, whatever that is. You want it, again, especially your home, and most businesses, but especially your home, most people want, this is most, not all, but most people want their home to function like a fortress, but not look like one, right? I mean, there's few that want it to look like one, and that's fine. And so what are the things we can do? Let's say I'm a homeowner. I don't have the budget, the time, whatever, to hire you, bring you in and put in this awesome system and all the great stuff y'all do. And I want to throw up, let's say I want to put up, 4 cameras to be able to know when my wife and kids get home and, identify somebody at my front door. What's your experience with the consumer grade stuff for that?
It's getting better. Year after year, different brands coming out. It's it's going to work most of the time. Which in any technology, regardless of what you spend, is going to work most of the time. You are going to. I don't want to put a false impression out there that you're not going to have some downs. It is technology. It is electric, so it's
made by human beings.
Exactly. So there's always technical difficulties, but the stuff you can buy off the shelf at the store and put in, it's as good as what you're paying for, and it does work. We look at it more of convenience than we do security.
Right.
And a lot of times that's all a homeowner needs.
Right.
There's no need. And I also don't want to leave a bad impression that thinks of thinking you just have to spend a ton of money even on a professional system, because it's not. Really, when it boils down to it, there's not a huge price difference in the equipment. Now, there can be. As more sophisticated we go, on the commercial side, it does go up. But it's knowing its limitations and how it is to be used. It's more the knowledge of the install than it is the actual equipment itself. And so, I don't want people to think, oh, we can't call them because it's just, I can't afford that big, huge system they're talking about.
Sure.
And that's not correct. It's more, you go buy a part, we discussed O'Reilly's,
yeah,
and you install it yourself, and you go buy it at the shop and you have somebody install it, you're generally paying close to the same for the part, but it's the labor and the professional knowledge of the mechanic that's putting it in.
Correct.
That's where the difference is. Mm-hmm. So don't get the impression you have to spend a whole lot more to get a good system.
Sure. Well, there's another application that I recently experienced with the off-the-shelf and just got to put something together products is, I took a lightning strike, as you well know, at the house and fried, a whole lot of equipment. Painful subject. But anyway, to include, my system originally was a DVR-based system like what we talked about previously. It records locally, and it's just to plug the cameras in and go. It was convenient. Full disclosure, I didn't even know herring technology existed when I did this myself and wanted something I could do myself, but there was a little more than just, wireless stuff that wasn't as reliable. Well, I needed some temporary solutions to be able to monitor my driveway, my house, property, whatever. And, I threw up a couple of Blink cameras that worked great and a cellular game camera watching my driveway. And, I've had no issues out of either one. But that's because I didn't lose internet and I didn't lose power. But if I had lost internet or power, then certainly the Blink cameras would not have done anything for me. The cellular game camera would still work, assuming it's placed correctly and all that, and I've had no problems with it at all. If it, where I have it placed, it detects motion. It's going to send me a picture within less than a minute that there's a car approaching my house or my property or whatever. The picture you get on your phone, though, is a thumbnail image. It's not a 12 or 24 megapixel image that's being stored on that card locally. So I'm not probably going to be able to get the tag number on my phone. Understand that that's just how these work. When I go pull that card out, of the thing, assuming the bad guy didn't see it and take my camera on his way out, then I should have a good enough image on that card to be able to at least get the tag number based on kind of where I have it placed. I put it pretty high, though, so just Joe Blow can't reach it. So that was a quick, I needed a solution that day before the next day. And, I spent $250 total for those 2 cameras and to throw up the game camera. And, it was a temporary solution for me. I slept better being able to keep an eye on my stuff while I was away for a few days. And great. If that's all you're looking for, okay. But if something had happened, I would not have had really crap to go back and do something with or take a more proactive approach.
Well, and you hit on some good points. Even the game camera, if the power goes out, it still has batteries, you're going. It gets up to the consumer of you have personal responsibility now involved with that system. You have to go change those batteries if they go down. So that's why we look at them as a convenience more than just a security.
Right.
It's not sustainable generally. You're going to have issues that, the customer has to take some personal responsibility in charging, some of the Arlo cameras and things that I know early on you could, they would last a while, but you would have to go charge them up. Well, human nature is when I get a fear for something, I go purchase that, and it's like, well, that's not bad. I only have to charge it up every 6 weeks. That first 6 weeks comes by, you're going to go charge it. Maybe. The next one, it's probably not getting full 6 weeks. Because those batteries wear out over time, and it gets less and less time, and you're not as scared anymore. And so you're not paying attention to it. And this goes for not just the battery cameras. This goes for any business, any home that has systems, camera systems, access control, anything. When you put them in, generally it's out of, a fear that caused it. As time goes on, that fear goes away. You pay less attention to it. Sometimes months, sometimes years. And then all of a sudden something happens and you realize, oh, that camera was down. It didn't record it. And then we learned that from working with, investigators with the police department and other investigators. They're always like, man, that one camera was down. And the homeowner or the business owner would always look at us and go, that thing must have just gone down. And it's like, well, how coincidental is that? So then you're like, oh, okay, somebody shut that camera off to go do the crime. No, we go back, we look at the footage, and we realize that camera's been down for 3.5 months. Oh, yeah, I've never noticed that.
It's called complacency.
Correct. So that's why the smarter systems, and with a professional background, they're going to be more sustainable. You're going to know it if it goes down, if you're using the system.
Yep.
And that's what we tell everybody. You have to use it in order to stay up with it. And when I say use it, it doesn't mean I come home every night and I'm going to sit down and go through all my cameras and see who came to my house that day. We understand that. But get a system that puts it on your phone.
Yep.
Use it for convenience as well as security. See who's there. And then if you're looking at it, I use mine all the time, to see, did my package come? That's what's great about these Ring doorbells, the Nest, and all of those, is people do use those for that. Skybell. The packages alone, people check it all the time. Well, if it goes down, guess what? They know it right then. They know that day. And so we ask, you kind of do the same. You put a monitor somewhere in the house so you see your cameras, and if all of a sudden you see there's the same car in the middle of the road still sitting there, that camera's frozen. That guy's not sitting out in your street right there for 4 hours in the middle of the road. You call and get someone to take a look at it, or you go reboot it, or you do what you need to do. But there is personal responsibility with all the systems.
Well, you have to take ownership of, I'm putting this in and I need to make sure it's like putting an alarm on your house and then never setting it, or not. I see that all the time. People don't look at their cameras. I can't tell you how many times an employee who's the only employee at the business has no idea how to access the system to play something back if they need to. If law enforcement arrives and something happened, they got to call the owner who's out of town. And, people think, because you're a solutions company, you're going to come in and solve the problem, put all your stuff in, roll out, and they're good. Well, no. You have to take a proactive approach to And again, Tom's like you said, you're not having to come home every night and pop some popcorn and sit there and go through all your cameras, but at least be able to see them. And if you go to set your alarm, there's going to be a treble code on your keypad if there's a sensor not working, or if you don't have a touchscreen, if you just have a regular keypad, there's going to be probably a yellow light typically, or maybe a different color. Don't go, well, crap, sensor's off, let's just leave the alarm off. Fix it. Call somebody out to deal with it. It's not going to work when you need it to if you're lazy.
One of the worst things, it's a necessity, it has to be there. But for the consumer, it's awful, is the bypass button on an alarm system. It's
Remind me to elaborate. Go ahead.
Because it's real easy when that, it's going to beep, it's going to notify you, it's going to annoy you to tell you there's a problem with that window sensor. And, you're going to walk up, and instead of calling somebody right then, because you don't have time to do it, and I get that. I don't, always have the time right then. And you may bypass it for a day or two. But we have, I just bypassed that. How long has it been doing that? Well, about 8 months. Okay. You're leaving that window open, and then how it happens, I don't know, but by chance, it's always that one that gets accessed by the bad guy. And it didn't go off. So you have to pay attention to those signals. There's something wrong if it's sending you a signal. Now, it may not be the window sensor. It could be the whole system is malfunctioning, but there's something wrong. If it pops up, there's something wrong.
Well, typically the reason that's the one that's always accessed, if we're talking commercial facilities, is every employee, and I know God love you if you think all your employees are on the up and up, depending on how big your company is, but every employee in the building knows that sensor doesn't work, and therefore they can come steal from you even though they're your employee. When I was at the Drug Task Force building and was new, we had that very problem. You had to bypass 2 sensors to set the alarm every night. And I was pretty new, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Well, overhead door, blah, 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 blah. This is the Drug Task Force. There's millions of dollars of equipment.
A little evidence in there sometimes.
Well, good luck getting in our evidence room.
Yeah.
But even if you got in the building, I could clean my gun twice before I shoot you. But still, there's millions of dollars worth of equipment, and just, it's sort of discrete location, but still, this is a government building. This is the 20 Judicial District Drug Task Force building, and we're bypassing alarms. No, and I wasn't in charge. I was a supervisor assigned there, but I wasn't in charge yet. And so I had to be gentle about my approach to get that fixed. But, I was just curious, how long? 2 years, boys.
Oh.
2 years. I'm like, are you kidding me? And this is law enforcement, right? It won't happen here. Are you kidding me? We have a saying, law enforcement, military, same tactical world all around. Complacency kills, period. If you can complacent on a call, complacent on a traffic stop, complacent with your security, complacent with whatever, complacency kills, period. You cannot afford to get complacent. Again, I'm not saying run around your yard like Rambo and point lasers at people breaking into your cars all the time, or do that. That's actually probably good. It's probably a good deterrent if there's somebody in your car and you point a laser at them. But anyway, but again, there's a balance. Don't get complacent, but you don't have to be, take it to that crazy level. Some people do, and that's fine. Whatever. That's your deal. If you want protection dogs around your house and lighting and fencing, great. I've got clients that have all that because really they need it. And if you feel like you do, great. But just don't get complacent with whatever it is, your system, your procedures, your policies, your habits, all that. Just don't get complacent. That's what ends up causing most of the problems.
I'm a perfect example of that just now. I've been checking all my cameras since we've been sitting here talking about that on my house. One of the apps hasn't even been downloaded since my phone refreshed. So I just checked it now.
What cameras do you have?
I've got one in my backyard. I have no idea what kind of cameras they are, but then one in my driveway and my Skybell. Yeah. So 3 cameras on the exterior. Came up with a new euphemism for you guys.
Oh,
okay. I'm not a euphemism, acronym.
Acronym.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all there either, Mr. Copywriter. Go ahead.
So LCA and you can actually kind of spell it out. It's lights, camera, not action, but alarms.
There you go.
Oh, look at that.
Lights, camera, and alarms. And
Lights,
that is
camera,
true.
alarms.
Yeah.
That's your first phase of defense.
Yeah. And
I like lights, camera, and arms, but whatever.
both.
I mean,
You guys can have that.
if I could only have one.
Well, here's the thing. I came this morning to we're going to do the podcast production and everything like we always do, and I pulled up and parked my car in your parking lot, Tom, and forgot my wallet in my car. And as I came up to the treehouse here, I said to myself, "Oh crap, I forgot my wallet." And one of you guys was sitting here. I said, "Well, if I forget my wallet in the car, this is the place to forget your wallet in the car, because if you watch this show behind Brink, you can see exactly what Tom does. A large part of it."
Yeah, and there's a lot more cameras than are on the screen. A lot more.
Yeah. Well, and that brings me to another, I think, talking about all the cameras, Brink, the reason they're here is we're testing them.
Yeah.
All the different brands. The biggest thing in all of this is education. You and I were talking about it between the episodes. It's getting educated in this. And we took it as a different approach as a company when we started learning this and the cameras, and it was out of necessity because we had break-ins here on our lot and a lot of our trailers and things like that we got cameras. We went to court. It was actually 26 different incidents, and, we had video footage of it because I did what everybody did. Mm-hmm. I went and bought a DVR that I think came with 8 cameras, and 8 worked for a little while. We were getting some stuff, and I went to 16. I bought a new DVR, and we went to 16 cameras. We finally catch the guy, go to court. All of that evidence was thrown out.
Wow.
Every bit of it, because it was not identifiable. And so I'm like, does this happen a lot? And that's where we actually got into this business.
Hearing technology was born.
Out of necessity. What is that
Tom
phrase?
Tom was pissed off.
In a world.
Yeah.
Necessity is the mother of invention. So
correct.
It ticked me off to the point of, let's go find why that happened. Does that happen all the time? And when I started talking to law enforcement that go to court with that all the time and talking to them, it was a very sore subject with them because it was always that way.
Yep.
The quality wasn't good enough. The angle wasn't good. We had observation. You could see this guy literally broke into the trailer. Matter of fact, got hung in the trailer one night when it was about 14 degrees and hung there for several hours. So we thought we were going to get him the next morning, but he finally got out and got away. But that's okay, But they threw it out. We got him on 2 cases, and that was one that was identifiable, that he walked close enough to the camera. And the second one was because they caught him on the premises that night, which we had filled out the paperwork for the trespassing and all that, which is a whole nother thing that people a lot of times don't understand. Would remind us to hit on that on the education side. So when we did it, the first thing I did was started going to detectives. How did these people get in the building? They're looking at me like I'm trying to be a thief to get in. And it's like,
starting a new company.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to know what happened, what failed, because they obviously got in because you had a case after it.
Right.
I want to know the ones that got away. What did it? And so we started with one particular one, Tommy Campsey out of Brentwood.
Yep.
They're 37 years retired. And it was a wealth of we started going backwards. What would have helped you in your case? So that's how we started designing systems. We got educated, and we did it from the backwards. Most people receive education from the manufacturer.
Worst thing you can ever do.
Because they want to sell that product.
And a crap load of it.
And most of them, I'm not going to say they don't tell the truth, but they lie.
Yeah.
I mean, they will tell you.
They're completely full of crap a lot of times.
Or they will tell you all the good stuff. They never tell you where it fails, and I could not stand that. And my manufacturers here and the ones that I sell their products right now, they'll tell you. And I have a lot of them out there that have beat down our doors to get in for us to sell their product that will tell you it's based off of, does it work?
Yeah.
How often does it fail? Where does it go? And that's what we do. We bring all those in. That's why we have all the cameras, the software. How does it integrate? Is it easy to function with? And it's an education process, and manufacturers want to talk to our customers. And I'm like, no.
Never.
I don't want you to talk to me.
Do that.
Because you're not going to recommend another product. Our systems, when we come in, it may be like a calico cat by the time we're finished.
It is a lot of times.
Because we're going to take the best of this camera that's designed for that purpose. We're going to take this best access control that integrates with this software so that it makes it easy for you to switch back and forth on one component. We just did an assessment, actually with our guests coming in here last week, and we went in, and it was a large public facility, and the guy in the command center literally had 5 different servers that he was having to monitor. None of them would talk to each other because it was a government facility, and we know how they have to go to low bid, and the manufacturers hound those government facilities of this is the best, and they get it. He's got it all in there. And the guy operating the command center was doing a fantastic job with what he had to work with. And when you walked in, he was one man. He had 5, I guess we'd say mouse. Mm-hmm. Mouse is operating 5 different computers to whatever he saw. That was his emergency management system. That was his camera system. That was his access control system, his regular computer for weather, and whatever happened, he had to look at the color codes and go back and forth. And like I said, he was amazing. This guy, I was amazed at how he could do it. And they actually had an incident while we were there and got to see him try to put it all into action. And it's like, oh my gosh. But in the meantime, when that incident occurred, he's focused on that and the 6 steps he has to do for that incident. No one else was watching anything else going on.
Nope. And
so you never have an incident where you would have a diversion. I'm going to pass out over here, and I know all their attention's going to that. Now the whole back of the building's wide open. So integration with the systems helps you with that. And when you just mix and match manufacturers and do not know how they interact with each other, it's lost.
Yep.
And that's where the education part comes in, and that's what we do. We don't take kickbacks. We don't take rebate points. We don't take anything from any of our manufacturers intentionally. Because the only reason I want to buy your product and resell your product is that, number one, it works, and you stand behind it.
Right.
And if you won't do those things, I don't need you. I don't care how big a name brand it is.
Well, that's also why you can't get rid of me.
Exactly.
Because I found this company and Tom and his people, and new product comes out, they literally try and break it or make it fail, and if they can't.
Well, you guys complement each other.
We do.
Yeah. You're
but
basically...
I'm the one that wouldn't go away.
You're persistent.
That's a good word for it.
Exactly.
You cover the exterior, right? Phase 1, and phase 2. Brink is all about the right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to go afterwards.
Sometimes we got to clean up messes. Whatever. One-stop shop we call it, but
not those kind of messes, not the mob messes.
No.
Forget about it.
Yeah. No, not that kind. But from a integration technology standpoint, all that stuff's great. But if you're complacent, none of it makes a crap bit of difference. If you are not staying up on your system and your protocols and your employees and your key access and all that stuff, even at home, if you get complacent about locking the door or setting the alarm or anything like that, at the end of the day, that is the biggest enemy of true security is complacency. So I want to wrap with that. No matter what you're trying to secure, it's a conscientious effort on your part to not become complacent and stay proactive in some shape, form, or fashion, period. There's no way you can get away from that and have true security. Agreed?
Agreed. And educate yourself on it.
Yep.
That's
and if you don't know and you don't want to just listen to somebody on YouTube, then pick up the phone and call over to Herring Technology because somebody will get you an answer to your question, period. And they're not afraid to say if they don't have it either. If they don't know the answer, they'll get it. They're not just going to make something up, which I love too, because some people will just all of a sudden want to be an expert.
And we do not have all the answers. That's the thing. And
you'll get them, though.
Correct. We pride ourselves in not knowing everything, but knowing exactly who to go to get it.
Amen.
That's our contacts outside of here, our best part of our solution that we have. And it's working with, the other side of it is, don't always just call us. If you're having an issue at home, or you have a fear, or at your business, or you have anything, concerns, get a defense consultant. Not just us. I mean, we can help you, but that's probably the first thing we're going to ask you. Do you have somebody you're working with currently? Defend Systems, whoever it may be.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, exactly. And it is shameless because
it makes sense because you're the tip of the spear.
Correct.
You know exactly what you knew, who to bring in, and you make it easy. And this is not something that people should really kind of blow off. I mean, it's not, and it's kind of fun to investigate, to be honest.
Well, Jim, you go to build a house, or you're going to have a plan.
Yeah.
You're going to have, an architect, or you've already got a building plan, and you had somebody to design that. Right. You had somebody that, could see it through. You don't just go out and start hiring a bunch of subs and trying to explain to them on the job kind of what you want. Yeah, I want a front porch over here. Yeah. Oh, we're probably going to need some plumbing in that. That's a bathroom.
Let me mark it in the dirt for you where I want the footings.
Yeah, you can do that. And people do that.
Oh, they do.
And guess what they end up with at the end of the day?
A piece of garbage.
Exactly. Yeah. And now you're talking about security, that's your safety, your life. You need an architect.
Right.
Get a third party. It's worth paying for. And that's what a lot of times people, I don't want to do that. Now, I'm not saying we don't want your input. We do. You are a piece of that. But you need a professional help in it as well, and then we can provide the tools.
I think a little bit is just awareness. It's education that follows the awareness of, something that is kind of cool to have these types of technologies in your home. I like having the cameras. I can see what's going on,
And your fancy garage door opener.
My fancy garage door opener.
And when's the last time you used it for a theft or a crime?
Nothing.
You haven't?
No, I'm knock on wood.
I know where I'm going.
Yeah. But he has it now.
We got a new keypad with a very impenetrable code.
Yeah. Oh, and you mentioned you had a new garage door. That's a whole nother. Just on the education piece, free tip here on your garage doors. Mm-hmm. It's kind of. If there's any criminals listening, could y'all please turn off the mics at this point? Quit listening.
It's going to get boring noise here real quick.
I love it because they have the safety releases inside. So if your electronic garage door malfunctions or the power is out and it doesn't have a battery backup like we discussed in the first one, they have a little red cord. You pull them, and they go down. But when your door's shut, that little cord is very close to the door. So if you could somehow get in, which criminals can, they can pull that and your garage door comes right up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Roll those up tight where they can't reach in with something and snag it.
Good
and pull
idea.
It. And then the other thing is that we see in a lot of these cases when that does occur, that door between your garage and your house.
Never locked.
Unlocked, yep.
People leave it unlocked because, I shut the garage door. Yeah, okay. Especially at night, especially if you park outside your garage with one vehicle, which happens. I mean, nobody else has one like mine that you have so much junk in there that you can't pull a car in, right. And so you park outside. I know that doesn't happen anywhere else. Don't leave your garage door opener hanging on your visor.
Or even program it.
Yeah, just.
I stopped with the new garage door. I didn't even bother programming it.
Exactly. Don't leave that open. That's easy access in, and people forget about it. Complacency.
Since doing this podcast with you guys, I've been my paranoia has been quite heightened.
That is, for the record, that is not what we're trying to do.
And that's one of those tips. I think it's in our name of our show.
It's a great tip.
But Jim also showed us coming in, which I wasn't aware. He has a new garage door that has an app on his phone.
Yep.
That shows him if it's open. It's not tied to an alarm system or it's just direct with your garage door.
Yeah.
So I'm calling that company as soon as we get out of here to find out what that is, how it's offered. it's neat. So it tells you if your door's up or closed, and you know that while you're away. Several ways to do that. You can do it with your camera system if you want to, but I would imagine you could set it up as an alert too.
Yeah, I get alerts whenever it's open for more than 5 minutes.
Correct.
And you can adjust the time. But I mean, it's nice when you're going to bed at night and all of a sudden you're like, crap, did we close the garage door? Now I got to get out of bed and run downstairs and open the door. Now I got to look at my phone. Oh, it's closed.
Yeah,
I
love that.
Yeah. And I can close it from my phone.
Yeah, garage
That's
doors,
awesome.
garages and garage doors are big
Security
home
breach.
invasion.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do a topic on that next episode.
Amen.
Exactly.
Well, perfect. On that note, we'll wrap this episode. So thank you all for listening to this edition of Tips, Tactics, and Tools for a Step for Tomorrow. You can always reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, or you can reach out to us at tipstacticstools.com.